not only the PR, the advertisement, was the knowledge they bring, the amount of exposure they have, the amount of people they meet.
Building recall is what traditionally celebrity associations have been leveraged for, but today it has evolved to, what else can they bring to the table beyond just their face, right? Which is...
This is how you have to probably share your side of the story also with the celeb. What do you bring as a core?
Here I'm more of a numbers guy, which is, so the thing what I tend to see is that between various categories, let's take FMCG for instance, generally the gross margins tend to be higher and therefore the growth delivering spends that you can do in the form of marketing, R&D, etc. can be a little bit higher.
I remember Vivek Oberoi was coming to Pune and I was super excited because I like his films and he's a fantastic actor. So I dressed up myself, went, sat next to him. And while discussing, I realized and I was amazed by the type of business knowledge they have. So for me, a collaboration with a celebrity was about what he brings to the table. Not only the PR, the advertisement, was the knowledge they bring, the amount of exposure they have, the amount of people they meet. So for me, Vivek Oberoi was a walking, talking businessman. Learned a lot from him. Structured the company. I had one store and today, God's grace, we are in 21 cities and it's great. So for me, collaboration with a celebrity, it's all about how they interpret the brand, how they're going to help in the growth of the brand, and what are they going to do for the brand. So that's why today Solitario is looking at certain collaborations with a lot more celebrities, but creating a line behind them. So there should be a concept. Celebrity needs to identify yourself with the brand, according to me. I think taking brand ambassadors is great, but I think it's no more what consumers are waiting for. They're waiting for a celebrity to be able to interact with the brand. That would be my opinion.
I think traditionally celebrities have been used more so in a manner to build recall for a brand, right? So when you walk into a movie theater and I mean Lux, for example, which is an innerwear brand, right? You'll always remember like an Akshay Kumar with that, right? So I think building recall is what traditionally celebrity associations have been leveraged for, but today it has evolved to, what else can they bring to the table beyond just their face, right? Which is extending a certain personal brand identity that helps shapes the journey of the brand, or it could be, added value beyond just their presence in advertising. And I think that's how celebrity brands, in fact, like you said, in the last 5 years itself, it has changed significantly because even customers seek a certain sense of authenticity and want to be able to see a part of themselves in that celebrity that is forefronting the brand.
Well, see, I'll tell you from my experience, the first conversation I had with Vivek Oberoi when we spoke about lab-grown diamond, I told him that we've created 20% of the sun's heat in a chamber and we're growing the diamonds. His instant reaction was, wow. Because he had seen the movie Blood Diamond, he feels that mining is not the right thing, it's not the ethical thing, which is what maybe today 20-30% feels. Again, I'm very open to say that mining has improved. There are Kimberley pipelines. It's not as critical as people think it is. But yes, if you can get the same thing done in a chamber, why not? And it's even cheaper. It's husband friendly, let's put it that way. But coming to the ethics, that just comes organically. You cannot force it on a celeb. So you got to know that you have a match. Plus, with a celebrity, at the end of the day, they're normal human beings. You got to see that the chemistry is there, that affection is there, that understanding is there. If all that is not there, then you know what is better? You just do one shoot day and just promote the brand, which works for many people. But for me, being a new brand, for me being new in India, because I've only been here 7 years, it was very important to get a collaborator on board, not really a celebrity on board. Today, a brand that's already been established for 30 years, yes, perfect. For recall of the brand, they can put a brand ambassador. But when you're building something, you want to feel it's yours. So yeah, ethically, the person has to be aligned with you in all ways.
So very quickly, the brand that I run is called Saaki, and it's a women's ethnic, or now we call it Indian workwear brand with Samantha Ruth Prabhu, right? So when we started this brand, it's been about 4 years that it's been in business, and when we started this out, I had already been in the business of celebrity brands for the last 5 years, right? So something that I seeked out very actively for this brand is that she comes in as a partner, because a lot of the previous associations that I had built were endorsement-led, or associations which were bound by time, which means that 3-month, 6-month kind of windows. But the journey of brand building in itself is a very long haul, right? So we want our celebrity partners to at least be invested for a significant period of time when that brand building activity kind of unveils itself. So in this association, I think like my co-panelist also mentioned, a lot of celebrities do come in with great business acumen and have a key interest in building a legacy far beyond what their screen life or their acting life brings to them, right? So with that, I think the way that they start to get involved in these businesses have changed, right? They're no longer just saying, hey, I'm going to come and shoot for you on one day, right? But we do have deeper discussions in what's working for the category, right? What's the larger market pulse? So I think that step back that celebrities have taken from this very large persona to start to become active partners in the business is the biggest change. And I think the biggest learning for me is that Samantha's been that and so much more. She gets involved in, like very recently we went through a rebranding from a broader ethnic wear into the workwear category, right? So that came in from a lot of insight that we started tracking at a market level. And when we presented to her, she's equally as open to be able to champion that belief, right? So I think kind of helping us shape that direction for the brand is very important. And I think what celebs still have a hold on is opening certain channels which, maybe innately for a non-celeb brand might have a lot more proving out to do, right? So something that for a non-celeb brand might happen only with a revenue or a certain critical mass that they've been able to achieve, a celeb brand can start to access much more early on in their brand's journey, right? And to your question of how do you balance her public persona to what the brand stands for, I think to what Pallavi was saying early on is the fact that when you step into a celeb brand zone, it's very important that there is a certain extension of the celebrity into the brand. However, that starts to amplify into what does your market resonate with, right? So today, so many women are getting back to work. So many of them are in the space where they are proud of being Indian, right? If that sentiment is celeb only, then the audience will not be able to accept it or embody it, right? So I think for the audience to be able to equally believe in what the brand has to offer, and for the celeb only to kind of reiterate it and amplify it, right? I think that's the right way of building that association.
I'll probably take the funny route for this. And probably this is kind of our story also. So there are two ways you can look at. For established brands, it's more like a arranged marriage. And for like building from scratch brands like us, it's more of a love story. Okay, so when you build, when it's an arranged marriage, so you obviously go for the status check. You go for the background check. You check the financials and everything. Then you close the budget, like what kind of marriage we are planning. So everything comes into picture. But when when you're going for, let's say, a startup story, then it's love at first sight. Okay, the celeb needs to fall in love with the story. Okay, he needs to be in sync with the vision. So just like your love story, the budget will not matter. Like where you are in probably the hierarchy. So this is how it happened. So for Shivaraj Singh, as we said, we already had a 10-year relation with him. So I can say it was easier for him to fall in love with us. So budget was never a constraint, I would say. So this is how you have to like probably share your side of the story also with the celeb. Like what do you bring as a core? So when you're building a brand, face is a very big, so it brings you trust, probably it brings you very big reach, awareness, but at the same time, product matters, your distribution matters, your capability to probably come up with better product matters. So everyone has to chip in. So when you talk about us as a core, we had somebody who has been working with startup ecosystem for more than 10 years. We have somebody who's been part of Celeb ecosystem for more than 10 years. There is somebody who has formulation know-how and innovation in the product side for more than 10 years. We have somebody who has been part of the tech world for more than 10 years. So this is what we bring as a story to a Celeb. And then Celeb understand, okay, the 4 core are coming from the other side. I am the final pillar or the last pillar. So this is how you kind of build the story and you make them fall in love with you. And I would say budget will never be a constraint there, because you show them a bigger picture. If you really want to see a recent example, I guess everyone have heard the Puma story by now. So even 300 could not sell you a collab. So budget, even big budgets fail. So this is where I would say I would end up. In terms of how you safeguard your brand, I would say it goes both the ways. There are do's and don'ts for brand also, and there are do's and don'ts for the celeb also. So once you sit with them, you understand like who is comfortable at what level, and you finalize those before you get into probably a marriage. So everything will go probably perfect. And just like in marriage, everyone has to compensate at some point of time, and everyone needs to understand somebody you will chip in and somebody the other side will chip in, and this is how probably the long-lasting relationship is built.
I think a lot of brands do a damn good job with this, to be honest. So, but having said that, we've seen the spectrum, right? So, the first one I'd call out is just budgeting enough, right? Because the celebrity is not the end of all marketing, right? You want to have enough. I've seen a brand, and obviously I can't name them, but big MNC got a celebrity on board for 3 days, paid them 1 crore, very excited about it. But then they had used up most of their budget on the celebrity and hadn't spent enough on filming the actual, storyline designing, the ad campaign design, and of course launch. And so just making sure that yes, the amount that you're paying to this one individual or their team is going to be a small part of the overall monies that you want to spend to be able to get eyeballs in the most effective way. The sort of related point to that is how much working spend you're really doing and how much you're getting from the 1 or 2 campaigns that you're launching, right? So we tend to get bored of our brand campaigns much faster than our customers do. So they're seeing it 3 times, 4 times in a month. We're seeing it almost every day. We're being reminded of it every day. Our customers are sending us WhatsApp saying that, hey, we saw your brand campaign. And there's always a temptation, next month let me do something new, next month let me do something new. So making sure that you're getting the most bang for the buck, I think, will be important. Second, and here I'm more of a numbers guy, which is so the thing. What I tend to see is that between various categories, let's take FMCG for instance. Generally, the gross margins tend to be higher, and therefore the growth delivering spends that you can do in the form of marketing, R&D, etc., can be a little bit higher, and so you have a little bit more room to play around with marketing spends, right? Whereas if you're, let's say, foods, right? And again, I know there's a spectrum, ice cream at 50% plus gross margin versus staples that are less than 10%. You again want to be mindful of how much you're paying and how much you're spending on celebs. Because at the end of the day, once you get to scale, that equation does need to work out. It doesn't need to work out this year or next year, but 5 years from now, 10 years from now, your investors or you yourself should be asking, am I using the capital that I have efficiently or not? And we've seen that at least from 100 crore to a 500 crore growth phase with many of the clients that I work with and advise, you will see a marketing spend drop off on a medium level between 30% as a percentage of sales to about 20%. So that drop you should start to see and build in how much you're going to be paying your celebrities accordingly. So I think those are the 2 things that come to mind for that question.